Okay, well, we're at the appropriate time, so I'll open the meeting. And the acknowledgement of country. We would like to acknowledge the Ngadjuri and Kaurna people, custodians of the lands and waters of the Light Regional Council. Councillor, we pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to the other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people who are present today. Firstly, I'd like to apologise for my face mask, but I think you'd rather prefer my face mask than me coughing all over you, so that's good. Now, we are in a very rare position because our council has been awarded not just one award, but two awards at the recent
IPWEA, Institute of Professional Works Engineers Australia.
There you go. And it is incredibly exciting that we should get these awards. The first one is to Megan's department or the GSM roundabout intersection and upgrade at the Light Regional Council, which is this is an award that's presented by engineers and people. And Megan is going to give us a few words about it, but I think it's fantastic. Congratulations, Megan. That's tremendous.
Thank you, Mayor Bill. It was actually a fantastic night at the IPWEA Awards dinner where, yes, we did have a couple of projects that were up against quite a few other councils and private professional entities. But the GSM roundabout, it's been quite popular. I had a lot of attention for our community and other council communities. It was a project that took a long time to come, 10 years of persistence, lobbying by the community, different councils, and in the end, we had the local members of Parliament, Ashton Hearn and Tony Piccolo, also wanting it. I think at the end we also had the minister seeking its completion. So there was a bit of division, who should pay for it. It was right on the boundary between us and the Barossa Council. It probably immediately serves the local community of Newry, which is in the Barossa Council, and it's a state government intersection, but within our council area. So Light Regional Council, to its credit, took it on, and we successfully completed the project for the benefit of the community. It wasn't without its challenges, we all know that, but I think those challenges they're diminished by the outcome, the great outcome for that community. It was an intersection that had something like 6 accidents a week. So it was a notorious intersection. It received black spot funding, and it was contributed with funding from DIT and also Light Regional Council. And that was very much thanks to our project team who delivered the project. We had staff on the ground doing the work as well as contractors. So thank you to the council for helping us deliver this project and their support.
Congratulations, Meg. Now, the other award is to Kyron's group for the Roseworthy Water Scheme Bunyip 2. Kyron just says it wasn't his effort, it was the engineers, not him. So he's refraining from speaking, but I think we should congratulate the team for the Roseworthy Water Bunyip 2 scheme. And just apparently it's the first time a council has ever won 2 special awards at this event. So it's a pretty remarkable achievement. So congratulations to everyone involved. Those of you be aware that there's been an election for the seat that my seat out of the Muddleware Award, and the new member was duly elected today, and he's Martin Kennedy. He's got 72 hours to be before he's officially a member, but Martin Kennedy will be joining us on the next meeting in December. So congratulations to Martin. Okay, attendance present apologies. We have an apology from the Deputy Mayor Michael Phillips Ryder tonight. There's no leave of absence, no non-attendance. Confirmation of the council minutes. There's a recommendation there read the minutes and the confidential minutes of the meeting, the ordinary council meeting on Tuesday, 28th of October, be confirmed as true and correct record of the meeting. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Fabio, seconded. Councillor Dean, all in favour? Carried, thank you. There's another recommendation that the minutes and confidential minutes of the minutes of the meeting of the special council meeting held on Tuesday, the 11th of November, 2025, be confirmed as a true and correct record of that meeting. Would someone like to move that way? Councillor Annette, seconded. Councillor Collins got his hair in his hand, his hair. All in favour? Carried, thank you. Communications. I've provided a list of my activities. It was great to attend the Kabunda High School, but it was also interesting to attend the Rosalie College veterinary graduation yesterday. There were 98 new vets who graduated out of the Rosalie campus yesterday. Just there's an incredible number of students in that campus, and that campus obviously is in our area, so it really must have a big impact on our finances community. Councillor Ellison.
Thanks, Mayor Bill. Yes, just to note that I attended for council and uni along with Mayor Bill.
Thanks, Councillor Ellison. Any other elected members' communications? Okay. Requested documents to be tabled. Don't think there are any petitions, nil deputations. Oh, presentations. Deputation and presentation. We have got a deputation and presentation. The NTX. Where is it? There, good. We've got Ralph Riccardi and the head of the major projects, and Josephine Teffler, engagement lead for the Northern Transmission Project, representing Electranet, and we're looking forward to their presentation tonight. So if you guys like to take the stand, we really appreciate you being here.
I'd also acknowledge that Dave Tansel, you may have heard, is the project director for this project. He's unable to make this meeting, hence why I've had to step up. He's on some leave at the moment, but he'll be back. I think it's next week. So I get to fill his shoes, fill his big boots, and try to present as he does. So NTX. Okay. What is NTX? So the project is a large sort of critical project for the state. It's a significant project for the state, and it's in its very early days. We're still in that feasibility pre-planning stage, but it's about opening up South Australia to provide increased, I guess, transfer of energy between Adelaide and the upper north. Electranet sits in the little diagram there as the transmission network service provider. We I guess, transmit energy from where it's generated, and you can see there that there's multiple types of generation, and we transmit that and bring it to the distribution company, which is SA Power Networks, and that is provided to the consumer. The project at the moment plans to sort of run from Adelaide, just north of Adelaide in the suburbs there, through to the Bundy area, which is that substation we built as part of the Project Energy Connect, which is the interconnector to New South Wales, and then run northwards through to Port Augusta and onwards to Whyalla. It's in two sections, and we talk about south and we talk about north, but essentially it's the one project. Why are we doing this? I'm sure is a question everyone has asked themselves or asked us. There's a growing demand for electricity. We've got unprecedented levels of inquiries for industrial loads across the state. There's also congestion or constraints on the current generation along the mid-north corridor that we've got that runs from Robertstown sort of northwards. So this project is about, meeting that growing demand, providing some network resilience around bushfires as well. Adelaide is fed mainly from transmission lines that run through the Adelaide Hills, which is a high bushfire zone, and also, would help to provide that resilience piece to the Adelaide network. And it's also about making sure that we've got enough capacity for all of the large loads that are, the potential large loads. The life cycle of the project, as I said, it's fairly early days still. We're in that sort of pre-planning phase, development phase, and there's quite a bit to go before we get anywhere near sort of construction at this point. And I guess that's why we're here, is we're trying to make sure that the community has plenty of time to provide feedback and input into all of the corridors, the routes, whatever the project, I guess, study areas that we're looking at. We have already done quite a bit of engagement. There's been lots of workshops, pop-ups. We've done stakeholder workshops for multi-criteria analysis. And I guess we've used those workshops and that multi-criteria analysis into further investigations with the corridor. But we want to sort of, I guess, ask for more or open up that feedback for that area. What we've done is we've not selected anything for the south, which is from Bundy to Adelaide. We need to, I guess, open up that study area, get some more feedback. So what we've heard is that people want to still be, providing that input, and I think it's around these sort of areas here where, what are the things we need to avoid? What should we, take into account in our assessment and analysis for the line route? I'll just jump back. So this is some of the engagement that we've done. There's a few numbers there about, surveys and how many people have attended and etc. So it's been quite expensive already, but there is still plenty more that we're going to do. As I said, we're shifting that focus. We're opening up the areas to take more feedback on board, and definitely there's been no decision made on the southern route corridor. Okay, so next steps. Really, it's about what that draft, what we've heard report to be released early in the new year. We continue our conversations with landholders and move towards the process of selecting that preferred corridor. We've also managed to get an extension on our draft assessment report. That's the next regulatory report that puts all the options in front of the energy regulator and gets also market consultation from all the other market participants as well. We've been able to extend that submission to early next year so that we can undertake further feedback and further consultation with the community. That's it from me.
Thanks, Ralph. Do you want questions now, or do you want to wait till the end?
I can take questions, or we can take questions, or
He presented my bit anyway.
Oh, did he? Okay. Are there any questions then, councillors? Councillor Colin.
So you haven't really got too far then, because that's pretty well what you told us last time you're here. But anyway, I was just wondering about when the land's purchased, if when your easement goes through, have you done any work on the capital gain exposure that landholders are going to have? It's been a question I've asked.
So this is something that, so the ENA is the Energy Networks Australia, so that's a association which represents all the transmission network service providers, distribution companies and gas. And as part of that, we've put submissions through to the Commonwealth Government to try and get what's called capital gains tax exemption for purchase of easements.
That's cool.
You didn't talk about the fifth route.
So at the moment, we're currently looking at areas to the east of the previous study area to try and ascertain whether there is a potentially viable route to the east of the areas that we've already studied. Part of the feedback that we received through our engagement process was that a number of community members whose land was within the corridor felt like they should have been directly approached prior to having a map that showed their land being in a corridor. And so we've taken that information on board. And so we're beginning our conversations with landholders through the areas which we're investigating.
That's cool.
Yeah, because there is, I think I was talking earlier, but there was on the 5AA this morning, and also there's an article I've just got here from the ABC basically saying that you're not going to go in farming land, and the fifth route is going to go out into the pastoral land. But the problem that we all know you have is that if you go in the pastoral land, you can only go so far south, and then you still have to go west. The question I have is, you have to go back to Templars. Every one I've seen ends up at Templars. Is that the case?
Yes, it's still early days to get into that level of detail. We don't want to, set pictures in people's minds that we've got defined routes. We haven't. Okay. Templars is a node that does need to be worked on, and I guess we'll figure that out as part of this feedback, how we get there to that substation.
Yeah, but the question is, so with Route 5, you're going basically 40 k's south to Dutton East, and then going to come back, but the destination is still the same point. So if you're going to go to the pastoral land, wouldn't you? The idea that a lot of people had was you'd go further south, and then you'd come in through Palmer, but then obviously you're going into the Mount Lofty Ranges, so that's not what you want. But I think you got to be clear with people that Templars is where you want to go, because otherwise, because that's confused a lot of people who now look at Route 5 and go, well, Route 5 stupid, we didn't realise we're going to Templars. So it's confused a lot of people.
Yeah, as I said, there's a lot of detail there. We haven't got to that level of detail. Templars is part of the scope of the project. Its criticality, whether we have to go there with the line or not, still to be determined. So.
Councillor Roth, is that when the project was identified as an identified need in the ISP, Templars substation was identified as part of that identified need. So it is forming part of that, but whether it necessarily forms part of the final is still being determined. But that is part of where the drive to Templars has come from. And also we are exploring options to the east in an attempt to minimise impact on cropping land.
Yeah, I can see what you're trying to do, but the problem is if you go to Dutton, I don't know if you've been up to Dutton, but it's farming land from Dutton in. So basically, if you get to Canunga Hill, so you're going to cut through Canunga Hill, you're nearly in Grange Hermitage Vineyard there. So then you're in high value use land already. So you've already saved yourself nothing.
So at the moment, we're evaluating all the options that we can to see whether there is opportunities in the east to reduce impact on cropping land. That's the best that we can do at the moment.
I understand
We've done
that,
the investigation.
but the point I'm making, and what I tried to say, emphasise earlier, is once you go south, you still have to come west.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if you put a dot on Templars and go anywhere around there, you're going to go. The amount of farmland you're going to affect is going to be exactly the same. If you go out there or not.
I think you made the point, Councillor Cole. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks very much for your presentation. You've got a very big job and a very difficult job. Oh, sorry, Councillor Simon.
Thanks, Mayor. If I can have one question. If I understand it correctly, so the Australian Energy Regulator sets these regulatory control periods And I think for transmission, this one ends June 28th, if that's correct. So, and the next one obviously starts July 1st. Is it correct that at that point you guys would have to have this project basically shovel ready and all worked out and ready to go? So you're following this next period. And if that's the case, is your timeline realistic?
Yes, so we do have a reset period, as we call it. It's a 5-year reset period. But we have 3 different types of portfolios. So we have a regulated portfolio, which must work within that 5-year reset. We have connections, or what we call contracted works, which is customers that want to connect to us, large loads, generation, wind farms, solar farms, batteries, etc. And then the major projects are considered contingent. They can be proposed in a 5-year window. They don't need to be delivered in that 5-year window. They have target dates on them. So the regulator plus the market operator, AEMO, will set, delivery schedules to make sure that we are, keeping up with the development path that they are trying to propose. NTX falls into that contingent project. So its target date at the moment is 2029 to be completed. So it doesn't, it falls within a reset period, but it also falls in another. Should the project be able to be delivered earlier, that's fine, and it's hit all its trigger points. Or if it has slipped, it can be delivered in another reset period. Is that good?
Thanks very much. Any further questions? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. We look forward to your next presentation when we find out the options that you'll come up with, and wish you the best of luck. But it's obviously it's become aware that a lot of rural holders are very concerned about where it runs, and we as a council we're concerned about their best endeavours. Thank you very much. Okay, so we moved on to adjourned business. There's no action items. And then we go to the supplementary agenda. Number 9 on the supplementary agenda, the Audit and Risk Committee meeting.
So I missed that, saying, yes, 9.
Page 4 on the supplementary agenda. There's a recommendation that the agenda reports of the minutes of the Light Regional Council Audit Committee meeting held Thursday, the 18th of 2025 be received. We need to have this moved before we can go further. Someone like to move that one? Page 4 on the supplementary. Someone like to move that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Ellison. Seconded. This is just so we can read it. We need to have it received. Someone like to second that motion? Councillor Collins, all in favour? Carried. Thank you. There's a second recommendation that the reports and recommendations of the meeting of the Light Regional Audit and Risk Committee meeting we held on Tuesday, 18th of November, numbered 1 to 8 as listed below, be adopted. Anyone want to remove any of those items? Councillor Collins? Just microphone, please.
I just want to look at the motion that was passed in the Audit and Risk Committee meeting, but I said, is that there or not? That's the item I'd like to talk about anyway.
Item 8.
Oh. So I read somewhere, I've lost the page, but I read somewhere, so we're going to have a bit of a mini budget, are we? Because we're a bit overspent. Is that?
No, the staff will prepare a plan to mitigate against the deficit budget result in 2025, acknowledge the impacts of the 24-25 result, and present that plan to the council via the Audit and Risk Committee meeting in February 2026, so that the staff will prepare a plan to mitigate against the results for the previous financial results.
Yeah, and the other thing I was worried about was this car parking fund. The cost of that is going to get a bit pricey if we don't have a replacement fund, which it doesn't sound like we're going to get one soon. So I think we should be doing something about that. Maybe.
If I may, we're obviously on the last item of the audit committee recommendations to council, and number 5, which is on screen up there, if you haven't got it in front of you, was certainly debated significantly. We had a number of councillors around the table here who attended the audit and risk committee, apart from the council members of the audit and risk. And look, obviously there's an acknowledgement there were some issues with the 24-25 financial results, and the discussion was significant in the audit committee about where we go with that, and that resulted in the item number 5, that there's a request to prepare, this is for the staff, to plan to mitigate against deficit budget result in the current financial year, acknowledging what happened in 24-25, and basically go back and review those and present it back to the Audit and Risk Committee, which of course will then come back to council in February. I'm not sure of the time frame for that committee, but I assume it's early February, and therefore the results would go, that report would go back to this council for consideration. Obviously, it's been a topic of discussion. I've had discussions with Councillor Collin on this matter, and flicked through, I think, an email to all of you regarding the GSM roundabout. I've had discussions with Councillor Emery, I think last week, last Wednesday, about the same issue, and I think Colin phoned me when I was with Councillor Emery, so it's on the same day, Wednesday afternoon last week. So I understand there's some issues there. The audit committee has made a recommendation to council that the best way to do this is for staff to go back and present further information to council in February, and to ensure that we've got the things in order, so we have as we minimise any impact on the 25-26 budget and don't have a repeat of 24-25. And there are some issues there that we'll probably try and clarify in terms of the reality of that $2.8 million, because some of it's obviously non-cash and some of it's about grants received in the previous year and all sorts of things. But we'll work our way through those and present it back to the audit committee and run a double check. Councillor Collin talked about a mini budget. Sounds like the federal government, when things don't quite go right, you do a mini budget halfway through the term. But hopefully as long as a federal government budget. But we'll work on this and bring it back to the audit committee in February and then to council. Thank you, Mayor Bill.
Okay, so we have the recommendation recommendation 2, that the reports and recommendations of the meeting of the Light Regional Audit Risk Committee meeting held on Tuesday, 18th of November 2025, numbered 1 to 8, as listed below, be adopted. So, Councillor Collin, seconded. Councillor Annette, all in favour? Carried, thank you. Now, I have to admit I've made a mistake. I don't like doing, is I missed the action item. Yeah, I read it there, but I didn't have anything written on my piece of paper. So we'll go through the action papers as action items we normally do and go through the page numbers. You all found that item on your agendas back in the ordinary council meeting. Page 6. Page 7. Councillor Peter.
um, the Anglevale Bridge, which was built over a century ago, I think, is unfortunately no more. And it was a wooden construction, and Playford Council decided not to continue with it. Now, I have a suggestion, and that is that on the steel motor bridge that has been erected at Anglevale, one solution would be to make an outhanger pedestrian and cycle bridge, which could be fabricated and fairly easily installed. So that's my observation.
Thanks, councillor Peter. I know that was one of the options looked at, but councillor CEO, do you want to, Megan, speak about that?
No, I'm not across that one.
Megan.
Thank you. Through the chair, councillor Peter, that suggestion was one of the options that we gave them as a recommendation from this council early last year, and it was in the options. We have then got information from Playford that said that they were no longer going to pursue any of the options. We have then obviously presented that information back to this council. We've come back to the City of Playford, advised them of our preference that we would like something, and that was also suggested to them again. We are waiting for the City of Playford to come back to us with their considerations, further considerations of our request, and a report be provided to this council in March 2026.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah, it's something we need to, it's a very dangerous situation at the moment, that bridge at the moment, so it'd be wonderful to get something done, but unless Playford put their hand in the pocket, we'll be up for the whole lot, I'm thinking. Maybe more than we can afford. Councillor Collins.
Oh yeah, I missed page 6.
Okay.
I missed something.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Page 6.
Just to Megan again, there's the Clare Road is here, and I'm just making sure, or I'm sure it will be done, but on the, I think in early December we have to report to DIP, don't we, on our our plan and everything will be closing. So I'm just wondering how we're going with that.
Through the chair, yes, councillor Collin, the minister requested some costs in December before the end of the year. We actually do have a meeting, I think it's tomorrow or Thursday, with the designer. We have asked for some costings for the current 70% stage to give that as an interim to the minister, should the process take a bit longer. And then we'll also get the 100% costings.
Thanks, Megan. Page 8. Page 9. Right. So 10, item 10.1, infrastructure and sustainability reports, infrastructure environment monthly update. Great report from Jason. Are there any questions, councillors? Quite a good month for doing roadwork, I think. Good bit of moisture. Councillor Collins?
I'd just like to say, I think Ruben Noak's pretty happy with the Tablelands Road being done.
Good. Good. Thank you. 10.2, Mudla Wirra Road speed limits. The response to the motion that was put through by Councillor Michael, Councillor Ellison. It's quite a good report, self-explanatory pretty much. Any questions? May not be the response we were hoping for, but don't know that we can do much about that. There being no questions, no responses. There's a recommendation there that the council receives infrastructure and sustainability reports and the contents therein be noted. So, we got a race there. Peter moved and Lynette seconded. All in favour? Carried, thank you. Point 11, strategy and economic development reports, there are nil. 12 reports for information. CEO's monthly report. CEO's presented that report. Any questions on that? 12.2, draft 2025 state public health plan. Authored by Kyan Ma, who's returned to us. Kyan, you want to stand up and we'll give you a cheer? Kyan left us for a while and went to Salisbury, but we're very pleased he's come back to council. So we look forward to your good work. Great report here too, Kyan. Thank you. Such a good report. I doubt there are any questions. Are there any questions? There's no questions. So we go to 12.3. Well done, Kyan. Customer Service Action Plan, CSAP, quarterly response. The CEO, have you got any comments?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Obviously picked this up from the previous CEO and the report was done. I read the reports, had a look at the customer requests coming through to council. We have gone out and one of the recommendations in the report was that we implement a new customer request or customer relationship management system. They proved to be way more expensive than I think we can afford it, between $500,000 and $600,000 for over a 4-year period, which is fairly expensive. So that's really left us to more fully investigate and utilise what we've currently got. It's not perfect, but with some management and both the technology and with people, I think we can probably improve. And there's some statistics on that report that indicate that our action times have decreased, which is positive. I was talking to Mayor Bill before this meeting. I actually went back to the source document I read 1 week's worth of requests that we received as we take them, just to get a feeling for what's coming through. And look, many are very simple requests. They, grass cutting or footpath trip hazard or stuff that we can fix, but others are far more complex. So you can't click your finger and say all these will be done in 7 days or 3 days or whatever, because some of them are long duration issues. So right now, until we do some more corporate system changes, we're sort of we'll be holding on to our current CRM system and utilising that to the best we possibly can. But like always, it's a mix of technology and people. The technology doesn't solve the darn problem. It's about people working to collectively resolve customer service issues. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks. Right. Didn't you say there were 7,000 inquiries we handled?
Yeah, as I said, sorry. Yes, I went back to the source just to really nut out how many we get. And look, I only did 1 week's worth of review to see how many we got in a week and in a day in a week. And it's about 7,000 per annum. And some of these, as I said, are not all easy. Some of them are quite complex and require inspection by our staff and our customer action team or our other teams to go out and have an inspection and then schedule that work for action sometime in the future. But 7,000 requests is a fairly hefty number if you think how many staff we have running around with their their standard jobs and their standard work schedules, and suddenly there's 7,000 additional things to do. So not insignificant. Thanks, Mayor Bill.
Thanks, mate. I think I'm right that the requests come to the front desk, the people at the front desk, so that although they're sitting there waiting to respond to people that walk in, they're also there working all day fielding these responses. So if you wonder who's doing it, that they take it and they send it on its merry way. Okay, there's a recommendation there at the bottom of page 22 that the reports for information be received and the contents therein be noted by council. Councillor Simon, Councillor Ellison, all in favour? Carried, thank you. Reports for decision. The alterations of the library Christmas opening times. I think oh, all right. Moved by Councillor Net, seconded Councillor Peter. All in favour? Carried. Oh, that was quick. (13.2), Councillor Collins.
Yeah, can I have a formal motion that that we proceed to the next business?
Thank you. That's someone like to second that motion? Councillor Simon, all in favour? Carried. Thank you. (13.3), private code amendment Freeling West. Again, a very good report from Kyle. Are there any questions? Councillor Collins got his red light on. Councillor Simon.
Yes, through the mayor. I got a couple of questions if I can. So one is, so this is a privately initiated code amendment. So this our submission to that amendment is that how much weight does that carry? Like I see it's a very detailed submission, and I really support it. How much weight does that carry? Is that always setting some principles and standards, or is it just we're just giving our opinion and they can do whatever they want?
Lisa.
Through the chair, it's the same weighting as any other community member. So what happens with this situation, all of those comments and submissions are sent directly to the private proponent, and they are required to collate that and provide that as a submission back to the minister. So when it comes to council, we have generally found that given we have a significant interest in what happens, the Commission usually does take a lot of notice of what councils say, because we are the best served in knowing the infrastructure requirements, other requirements in the area. So generally it's the same as any other submission, but council is generally noted for this comments.
You, Lisa. Councillor Simon.
Through the chair again. I know that the original master plan has some like extended lots at the boundary to the basically the edge of the town in the future as well to the farmland, and then that's in my opinion as a good point got changed to like a landscape buffer, just for that buffer between different land uses and to stop dust and spray drift and all that sort of stuff. Is there? Could we put a number to the width of that buffer? Could we say it's 100 meters, or could we say 50? Like, can we say something? Because I think this is always a sore point between farmers or basically broadacre farmers and residential encroachment. So I just wondered if you can set a standard or a number there.
In previous code amendments, yes, it is possible to suggest something to that effect. It usually won't take effect necessarily in a concept plan, though, as you've seen in our draft version of what we recommend. That is something that could be negotiated by way of a deed. So just as an example, the Roseworthy Town expansion, in the social deed, it was a specific nominated area adjacent the rail corridor, Councillor Zeller. So I would recommend that if we have a desire, it is included there. We'd have to do some more investigations, and there are actual separation evaluation distances that we need to have a regard to. So depending what the policy says at the day, that might help further guide us. So it's not the place to put it directly in the concept plan. It's something to be further negotiated and considered.
Thanks, Lisa. Any further questions to councillor Collins?
Just one question about all the sewage. So we've got to pump it because it's a different, I was reading this. And so who pays for that? Will that be the developer when they do it? Do they have to pump up?
Similar to the last response, there would be deeds that they would need to enter into. So what we've suggested, because there are two current different code amendments on track at one time, we would suggest that through those deeds that those developers pay for those costs, because there will be new pump stations and a new line. In addition to that, the council has a CWMS augmentation policy. So that for every new allotment that is created where you connect to the council system, it's currently a rate of $6,000. So they would pay for the line works as well as an augmentation charge.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay, if there's no further questions, there's a recommendation there. The bottom of page 27. Someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Simon, seconded Councillor Fabio. All in favour? It's carried. Thank you. Very good report. Very, very well presented. Took me 3 hours to read it, but yeah. Giraffe, dog and cat management plan. This is pretty much pretty straightforward, I would think. Any questions? Someone like to move the recommendation? Councillor Annette, is there someone second on that recommendation? Councillor Allison, all in favour? Carried, thank you. .5 Precision of Land Management Agreement allotment for Lawn Road, Bethel, and by Anthony. Councillor Fabio, are you moving the recommendation? Councillor Allison moving the recommendation, seconding. All in favour? Thank you. Very good report too, Anthony, obviously. .6 Accommodation Diversity Code Amendment, application of the Significant Retirement Facility and Support Accommodation Sites Overlay. A report by Colin. This is a report required by the Minister, I believe. It's a good report. Any questions on that report? Any further comments from the staff? Okay, there's a recommendation on page 53. Someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Dean, Councillor Simon, all in favour? It's carried. Yes, we're down to questions on notice, questions without notice, motions on notice. Go to the supplementary agenda, page 8. Differential rates in growth areas, Councillor Colin. There's a motion there. Do you want to speak to that motion, Councillor Colin?
I'll move it. I'd like to thank Kyron for his help with this. It's not my wording, some of this, as you might tell, but it hopefully it's what we need. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the report and what we can do.
Thanks, councillor Collins. Seconded Fabio. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Motions without notice? Don't think there are any. We move then to confidential items. Hewitt Centre Operations, there's a recommendation there that we move into confidentiality. I can't even say it.
Is that what call?
I'm getting a bit lucky. Moved councillor Simon. Seconded. Councillor Ellison, all in favour. Thank you.